Okay, hello everyone. So as we cannot have the access because of my COVID-19 situation, as we cannot have the lecture in the computer lab, so I decided to create the video guide and as well as the document guide. So the lab class, the structure of the lab class has two features. So the lab is a part of the lecture of this semester. So SOC299 data analysis and data analysis statistics. We have the statistics part. We can have. So this is my mic. I'm not sure it's working well, but I will see. All right, again. The statistics part will be done on Tuesday and Thursday. But on Wednesday, we will use the statistical program very much. So before having those classes, I wanted to make sure to cover the basics because on the computer, and sometimes you may not be very familiar with the Windows system because probably you are using the Mac OS, your MacBook Air or Pro, or probably you are very familiar with the Android format like Google, the Google-based computers like a Chromebook and others. So you may not be familiar sometimes. Yeah, you may not be very familiar with the Windows format. So I will cover a little bit more instruction about using your computer, the computers in the computer lab. So probably you are already familiar with that, but just make sure. So the general structure of the lab is the class and the lab and working with the to finish the final project at the end of the semester. So throughout the regular lecture on Tuesday and Thursday, I will cover the basics of the statistics and many of the testing criteria, procedure of the statistical testing, and rules, and probably more calculation. But in lab class on Wednesday, you will learn more about the application. So you learned a lot. You will learn a lot about the statistics, and on the lab on Wednesday, you will learn more about the application instead of some of the calculation. So you will have working on the practices and the final project, the writings and the troubleshooting, because I will stay in the lab to answer your questions and to resolve your issues in the programming. So this is the general rule of the lab class. So lab class would have the two sections, as the first section will be lecture. So I will show you how to use those statistical program, what menus you are using, and which kind of the tests would be useful for the problems. But also the second part will be based on your progress. You will be working by yourself. So you will be working on the weekly assignments and other assignments, the statistics lab exercise, and I will be there and to help you working on those projects. So I don't have very strict rules. So I may have the 30 minutes of the lecture and the remainder around 2 hours of the second part of working by yourself. But if I need to cover a lot, I may use about 1 hour as the lecture, and I will let you have 1.5 hours to do your own assignments. So there is no clear rule, but on these two sections, the lecture and the Q&A on your working time will be very clearly divided in the lab class. So the data. So in our Moodle website, you can find the course assignment data, which says General Social Survey. Again, if you download this data, so in case you go to the Moodle based on your computer, and if you download the GSS data on your own computer, you cannot open this file because you don't have the statistical program. So statistical program is not freeware, so it means that if you want to do it on your own device, you will need to buy it, but you don't need to do it because it's kind of several $100s. So you don't need to pay it because we all the computers in the computer lab in Gradfelter Hall and the Flank Gym, the computer lab, they all have the SPSS program. So that's why you will need to use those public computers, the computers in the computer lab, to conduct your exercise and the statistical analysis. So this is the basic screen. So maybe next week on the lab, I will show you how to do it. But in the public lab. So if you log in based on log in based on your account, you will see. So if you can go to the Explorer here. So this is the kind of the document back. If you double click this, you will see this tab. So this PC and the downloads, and if you go bottom more and go below and below, you will see the PC lab and maybe your ID. So your ID, so if my ID is Lee, so this is the private folder. It means that all other data, so all other files you downloaded in the downloads folder in anywhere and any outside of those private folder. Once you shut off your computer, the computer will erase everything. It means that if you do work on your assignments outside of those private folder, whatever you did will be erased every time. So that's why going to your ID, the H drive, your ID, that folder will be the location. You will saving your own data and your own works in that folder. So I will show you more details, but that will be very simple because you can just double click and you can create a new folder because to align. To sort out your files, not to mess up, you will need to create a new folder containing only the data for the data analysis and the statistics course. So like that. So after clicking on this H drive, you can go to the new folder, and then you will see this type of the new folder. Then you can name it. So you can name this folder as you can do it anyone if you can classify and you can distinguish this folder as for your SOC299 course. The name is fine, but I recommend you to put as SOC299 _ data analysis and statistics. Then you will have this one. So that will be very important step because you can save your files in this folder and you can keep working on your file because this data, this computer, your computer, the public computer will save your files in your private folder. So it means that even after shutting down your computer, you will be able to keep that file in that folder. So after that, after going to the, so maybe on the Moodle website, if you click or if you double click this URL, you will be able to download your data. So that might be in the download folder. So download folder here. So that might be in download folder. Or you can save your file inside of the SOC299 data analysis and the statistics folder. So that will be the basic step you can do to prepare the basics and the ongoing starting point of the lab class throughout this semester. So if you save your works outside of your private folder, once you log off from your public computer, all work will disappear. So that's why. So every time, every semester, there are unfortunately some of the cases of losing your progress in outside of your folder. So please save your file in the H drive and your separate folder named as SOC299, named as SOC299, and some kind of separate folder to save your file. I think I have something. I have some video, so let me double check. So I will use my video. Okay, so this is my video. So let me see about that. Okay, right. So let me show you the instruction here. Ways using the shortcut, or maybe just directly drag your file. This video was created some 2 years ago. So, all right, this is the folder. So this is your public computer. If you turn on your computer, you will see this type of screen. So downloads in the local disk in the downloads. If you click on the GSS file, you can download this one, this folder as downloads in the GSS data file, and then. So maybe Control C.
later.
Control C is the copying your file, and Control X is the cutting your file, and Control V as violet. That will be the pasting your file. So that will be easy, right? So after that, your file will be stored in the H drive, right? H drive, private, and the SOC299 data analysis and the statistics. Let me show you how to do that.
For a secure place to save your work. Go to private, and as I just showed you today, SOC299 with data analysis and statistics.
You are right.
And then you can create. You can just put your file on there, but if you wanna distinguish your folders to collect your.
If you wanna save your file in the separate folder, you can create another one named as data. So it's totally based on your sorting strategy and your own work. So maybe you can put all the data and all the works in one folder, and probably you can make the separate folders to save your files. Okay.
Create a new folder in here.
And then assignments.
Show you, and let me test again.
Right. So this is no, you don't need to do it because we are not using that one. So it's showing that. So I will add a link of this video probably, but maybe it's not very useful because you are not using remote lab or you are using the physical computers. So next week I will cover the more details about that, but that will be the basic process of the the computer work here. So after saving your file on the computer lab in the computer, so you will have this one, the GSS 2018, and if you double click the GSS 2018, and then if you double click the GSS 2018 file, then you can open the IBM Asset SPSS program, which is the one you will be using every time. So you will see this screen next week. So maybe Professor Lee is explaining very passionately. I will do that next week. All right. So I'm sorry that I cannot do it on the on our computer lab, but I will cover more and more on our lab. Okay. So I think these are mostly everything I want to cover as the basics. And maybe I will cover this next week in the next lab, but I'm not sure what to do better. But after having those basics, you will be able to use the SPSS data by yourself. Okay, I will cover more details next week in the lab, and on Thursday, I will have the lecture. I will let you know about more about the basics of the statistics. Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and see you on this Thursday. And see you in the lab next Wednesday.